Okay, we are flying through this week, and I hope you guys have really enjoyed the homework so far, and it's just helping you feel more confident in your ability to run your own VA business because you can, and you're going to rock at it. So let me know if you're feeling any kind of stress or anxiety or if something doesn't make sense. I am here for you. My number one goal is for you to be a successful VA business owner. So today we're going to jump into the topic that I think I probably get the most questions about. As you know, I work with both students here and I also do recruiting for some of my own clients. Now, this question comes from both sides. Both sides get very lost on this question, or this topic, but they are fascinated by it. They want to know because they're just so curious and it's kind of all over the board. So today we're going to jump into pricing and packaging. As you may or may not know, there are multiple ways to price your business, and all of them have their own pros and cons, right? Just with anything in your business, you have to balance what works best for you. So if you are you're a brand new VA, you've never provided VA support before. So this is your, right now you're starting your brand new business, which is majority of you. I encourage you to start off hourly. Now, you want to always have your hourly rate in mind, even when you're working through the other options here. So I want you to figure out, what do you believe your time is worth? And think about your mindset around that question. Is that a difficult question to answer? Are you going back to the, confidence issues? Are you saying, well, I'm not very good at XYZ, so maybe I'll only charge this, I want to make sure that this answer is coming from a very confident place. And if we need to go back to our first lesson on our offer and what skills we're able to provide, in our experience, then let's do that because I want you to be confident here. And you need to also remember that your rate is based on your past experience. It's based on, your dedication and your availability. And there's so many things that go into this rate. So this rate should not equal what an employer, like if you're an employee, your VA rate does not equal your employee rate. And we can jump into that a little bit later. So I want you to always have this minimum rate in mind. And this is definitely the easiest pricing method when you first launch your business. It's the most common form of pay within the traditional workplace. And so, if you're going to work at Costco or you're going to work an admin job in an office, most likely they are giving you an hourly rate. So this is also what most business owners understand. So as a beginning VA, before you really know how to propose your services or, to pick out the ideal client, this is a good way to simply lay it out for your potential client and make sure that they really understand what you're offering. Once you get more into the online world, you're going to find entrepreneurs who are comfortable with other options and expect it. Now, in this session, you're going to receive a worksheet that's going to help you figure out, if you break down your income goal for the year and the amount of hours that you want to work, kind of a general estimate of what that hourly rate should look like. Now, the next kind of section would be, you either stay with your hourly option with your clients, or you can move on to retainer packages, where basically what I try to describe this as to my clients who I'm recruiting for is, retainer is very similar to a salary. They're going to pay you for what you're going to provide them for the month. So let's say, you're going to provide a certain amount of hours every month, they're going to provide X amount of dollars, right? So oftentimes, many people will offer discounts with their retainer packages as the packages get larger, so perhaps a 10-hour package is at your regular rate. And then as, let's say, maybe they go up to 40 hours a month, maybe it's a 10% discount, so it just really, you can think about whether or not you want to offer a discount. I personally don't offer discounts based on packages. So my packages are just set for recruiting, and they can either decide they want to pay that or not, right? Be very careful when you are setting discounts, because I want to make sure that your highest discount, so let's say they book you for 80 hours a month, and if you're offering a 10% discount because they're booking so many hours with you, make sure that your minimum hourly rate is still met. Okay. So that might also mean that if it's a smaller package, you're going to charge a lot more because you need to have that room for the discount to encourage them to work with you more. Okay. So things to consider when you're doing your retainer packages: do the hours that they purchase expire? A lot of people are going to be like, well, I bought 80 hours, but I actually only needed 60 hours of service. Okay, like what I do in these situations is I offer a one-time rollover. I can't roll over hours every single month because I'm going to end up with a month that has like 150 hours of work. And that's just not, I don't have that capacity. Okay, so I encourage you honestly to not roll over hours, but with a good client, a client you really enjoy working with and you want to keep, I would say have some flexibility there. Let's say they use 75%, maybe roll over part of that the leftover 25%. Maybe don't roll over all of it, or just kind of keep it in a bank. And like if one month you go, you provide more work for them than you were expecting, just kind of be like, oh, it's okay. And just kind of have that balance. But it's really something that you need to be clear with. And as we create contracts later, put this into your contract. And then how do you handle refunds? Let's say a client signs up and they realize that it's either, they're not bringing enough income in a certain month, or they don't actually need as many hours as they, purchased. How are you going to handle that situation? And this is really personal. Some people don't give any refunds. Some people will give a 50% refund. It also depends on the reason. And so I always encourage you to have a very strong policy in your contract. However, like I said before with the expiration date, if it's a good client and you enjoy working with them, have some flexibility there, because that's going to help you keep that relationship in a good spot where you can continue on. And then we are going to discuss rate increases later on. So I do have a template you guys can use to communicate rate increases. Now, people get really uncomfortable about this, but the thing is that this happens in the corporate world. You get raises in the corporate world. Why would you as a business owner not be able to do the same for yourself? Okay. And so I have a template for you guys to use when you get to that point. Usually it's around the year mark, unless you started off too low and you realize you're like, I shouldn't have done that. And mistakes happen. You want to communicate that, allow the client to continue to work with you, but communicate like where you're at in your business, how much you love working with them, and then give them a buffer. So I don't want you to say next month my rates increase. I want you to give them like a 3-month buffer if you can. You don't have to, but this is something that you also need to include in your contract, that these may be coming. Now, I train a lot of business owners on how to work with VAs and online, independent contractors. And one thing that can work out well is that if someone has never worked with a VA before, or any kind of online independent contractor, is creating a 30-day trial. Now, it needs to be prepaid. So if you are going to work for someone for 30 days to see, do you guys vibe? Does it feel good to both of you? Are you able to work their systems the way you thought you were? That's a great way to, just start it off. It's also, if someone's on the fence, they don't know, they've never done this type of work before, and they're like, I don't know if I can afford it, but I need it. Say, okay, let's do 30 days. And I'm going to, either do this many hours for X amount, or this is a great place to bring in like kind of like a retainer, or even a package that we'll go into in a minute. And just kind of see, but they need to pay you first, okay? Or at least you guys can meet in the middle where they pay you 50%, you do the work, they pay you the rest. Because I don't want you guys to get in a situation where you're just providing free work for these people for 30 days. And then, that's not where we want to be as business owners. But let's say this 30-day trial works out. You guys love working together. It's a good vibe. You can support them well. At that point, I want you to move to a 3 to 6 month retainer, because they've had a taste and they know what you've taken off their plate. And so I want you to get a good commitment, because the longer the longer the commitment, the better, because you're going to be able to plan your business, plan your hours. and just be in a better place. So if we can get away from just hourly work not being, at least hourly work is fine if you have a set hour, a set commitment, right? I don't want you to be in a place where someone's like, I need like 2 to 7 hours this week. I don't need any hours next week. And the following week, I think I might need 20. Because as we plan and as we talk to potential clients, we're not going to be confident in whether we can actually provide the support they need. So just be strong. And it's hard in the beginning. I see lots of people offering free work. Please do not work or offer free work. It's not beneficial to you. It's not showing your value, and you're going to get burned out. So the final pricing structure here is packaging. So creating packages. So as you become more efficient in your work, and this is kind of why I said hourly is great in the beginning, track what you're doing while you're doing that hourly work. Okay, this type of work, takes me 10 hours. Or if you're writing a blog post, blog posts take me 2 hours to write, or whatever it is you're doing, just kind of keep a Google sheet or something. And so that you understand where you're at and what the actual time is for something. Because as you do become more efficient in this work, packages are a great way to increase your revenue. And that's ultimately, as business owners, what we want to do. And oftentimes you're going to see your veteran VAs posting package offerings on their website, or kind of like a company menu. Packages help your clients get over their mental block of what they can afford, okay? Because when they start looking at hourly, it's a little bit more like of a shock than they look at a package, right? So let's say you are a social media manager and your basic service takes you 10 hours a month. And your minimum rate that we discussed earlier is $40 an hour. A client may see this and think they can't afford someone who is $40 an hour because they're thinking in the employee corporate mindset, okay? And they're like, I just need someone much cheaper than $40 an hour. But now let's look at if you had that package on your website and a client sees that your basic package is $400 per month, which is the same as that 10 hours at a $40 hour rate, right? Everything they receive with that package is going to be listed out, okay? Their mentality is going to be much different coming into it. So packages are also great when you are more efficient and get the job done faster, which increases the rate per hour you actually receive. So let's go back to this, basic package as a social media manager for 10 hours a month, $40 an hour. That's, you're like, oh, that's just, I don't know, what's going to be done in 10 hours, a month is exactly what I need. But then they're like, oh, look at all this stuff that's handled for $400 a month. This is great. But now on your side, what you're going to do is that as you get better, that basic package might only take you 8 hours a month, but you're still going to be charging $400 a month for the same thing, which now means your rate just went from 40 to 50. Packages are best for you as you get better at your job, as the work that you do. You're going to get faster. It's going to take you less time to do the same amount of work. So the bottom line is that your client needs a deliverable. So you are providing them with XYZ for a certain amount of money. And then every quarter, I'm big into time auditing, but every quarter you need to do a time audit or, time study for 1 week to make sure that you're sure that where you are at hourly is where you want to be. So let's say we back this package, this social media package for 10 hours a month. Everything in your, system is based on, it takes me 10 hours a month to do this project. Well, that's great if it takes you 10 hours or less. But if something's going on and it's actually taking you 12 hours a month, then that's an issue. So we either need to look at our productivity, we'll see where our bottleneck is, or we need to raise the rate of that package so that we're always meeting our minimum hourly rate. You have to do what is right for your business. You have to believe in it and you have to be confident in it. So regardless of the structure you choose, always be sure to communicate with your client, that you can customize these services to meet their needs. And I talk a lot about if people come in and they say, your rates are too high, or they start trying to either get you to do a discount, or who knows what their mentality is. They're having some kind of mindset issue with what you charge for your services. And when you respond to this, just make sure you're extremely professional. We don't want to burn bridges. We don't want to be like, I've seen horrible ways to respond to this. So just make sure that you are professional. You let them know, like, okay, like, I understand your needs. I understand where you're at in your business. I'm happy to look at other packages for you to kind of meet your budget if you'd like to provide that for me. Or you can say, thank you for letting me know. I enjoyed meeting you. I wish you good luck in your search for this, whatever it is you're providing, right? And so just because a client doesn't want to pay your rates does not mean that you decrease your rates. Don't decrease your rates. Once you set that minimally hourly rate, that's your minimum rate. Okay. So whether you want to say, I'm going to be willing to offer you a 5-hour package, or even maybe just don't say hours, but that amount of work for $200 a month. They're like, okay, I can handle that. I can do my engagement on my own or whatever it is. So just kind of, you can either work with them or just wish them well. But you never know when that client might come back to you, or you don't know if they might refer you. They might be like, oh, I couldn't afford so-and-so, but they are so courteous. They're so professional. You should definitely look into working with them. Okay. So never talk smack about your potential clients or your clients, and always try to keep communication as positive as you possibly can. And one tip here that just came to me, in these Facebook groups, all these people, there's different VA Facebook groups, entrepreneur Facebook groups, don't talk about your clients. Okay. That will make it so that you are sure not to get any clients out of that group. When I go in and I'm recruiting for a VA, I search their name in that group. If I see like their information, I'm like, oh, they could be a good fit. If I search their name and they've talked poorly about anyone publicly, they're out. Like, that's not a professional business owner. So really take the professional side of your business seriously, because you're a business owner. You're not an employee, and it's a different world. So just please be careful. One thing I did want to mention here is you can do one-time packages or one-time projects. So projects would be another structure here that you could kind of implement if you wanted to. And this offers a lot more flexibility. So if you have a schedule that you don't want to be working Monday through Thursday, maybe you want to like have 1 week where you just like cram, and the rest of the weeks, maybe you're doing like getting new clients, or who knows what your schedule is, or you like to travel, and so your schedule's all over the place. You can offer one-time projects, and this is great like if you're into writing. So you could say, I'm going to provide you 5 blog posts for $300 or whatever it is, or I'm going to develop your website for X amount. So it's similar to a package, except for it's only one time, so it's not reoccurring. And that's another option that you can look at as you're looking at how you want to structure your business and what you want to provide your clients. Just make sure you always do some research and see what's out there. We want to be aware of what other people are charging, but don't solely base your rates off someone else's, because what you provide is different than what they provide. So your homework tonight is to complete the income worksheet that you can find here in the portal and decide which pricing structure feels best for you. I will talk to you tomorrow. Thanks.